Hello. Hi. So we could open on time. You see, can you hear well as well? Let me know. You hear? You should see the video, the presentation, and to be listened to me. That's perfect. So let's start. I'm super happy to be here, and it was a great process of reflection as well, of what happened in these last months, what changed, and what was the best way to share this knowledge in a way that you can gain perspective, understand my approach on the challenges that I have faced, and what can we all learn in relation to developing teams, and in this case, hierarchy, leadership in a company. So I'm Larissa. We already had the pre-meetup. I'll talk a bit about my approach soon, just checking if everything's working. And our agenda today will start with a short check-in, then an intro that I will talk about my approach in relation to leadership and team development, the case study that is Queijos Ipanema, then my perspective into this journey of team development and what I considered and tools and methods to do it. Then a checkout, and we'll have 25 minutes to answer questions, to talk a bit more about the content and gather your feedback. So simple rules. So let's be present, be here. Mute yourself. I think you're already muted, right? I felt a bit alone when I joined here, but we'll be talking soon. I will share this presentation in the end, and please give me feedback, and I'll ask for that in this model, what you liked and what could have been different. So let's go for the check-in. So if you can, write on the chat, actually your name, you're already logged, so there's no need. Your location and how do you feel. And to help us identify how we're feeling, I brought here a tool that we have been using quite often, that's called emotional agility. So we can help you for the check-in to identify how are you feeling. So I'm in Amsterdam, and I am feeling, let me explore the umbrellas, excited. Hello. So this is the check-in. Where are you and how do you feel? Good. Happy. I feel excited. What else do we have? I don't know if it's not loading, but you can keep writing it. So where are you and how do you feel as a check-in? So let's move forward. So I'd like just to introduce my perspective. So we're going to talk about my learnings and what it is to be a facilitator that develop high-performing teams remotely. So being a continuous process, you don't just reach high performing and that's it. So what is this process and how do I do that? So what I do is mainly to build better teamwork. So this involves also understanding of strategy and developing the teams around this strategy and these objectives. How do I do that? Mainly with design approach and facilitation, and I'll explain a little bit what is it. The design approach invites us to think about this process of diverging. So you face a challenge, an opportunity, a problem. So you first you open yourself and you create choices. So you understand what are the possibilities around it, and then after opening this process, you converge. So you start making choices, and it's a continuous process. And it's very important not to just to assume your perspective, or this brings a lot of space to exploration and to this framing of the question, how might we? So it's not about finding an exact answer. It's about understanding that the answer will come through the process, and you should be trusting the process. And in this approach of diverging and converging, you go through stages. It doesn't mean that you always have them in mind when you're in a design project more specifically, but you also always start with people. So you empathize, you understand their needs, their pains. Based on this exploration, you define the first, how might we create a high-performing team. Then you explore around it, so you create different ideas and perspectives. You create a prototype or a form to test it, and then you gather feedback, and then you keep this process ongoing. And the second approach, how I do it, is through facilitation. And facilitation, we can see it as this art of leading people from problems to solutions. So you facilitate and you bring people to collaborate, to participate, to ensure a fair share of voice, and engage everyone to find a solution and potential solutions to your problems. So it's a very human-centered and approach that you need to be aware of how it's going, and who is on board with you understands that when they are in the process itself. And where do I do it? So as a culture consultants and developing projects with Make Teamwork, currently launching a Teamwork Essentials course, and I'm a board member for many years now and facilitator, and I joined more in a daily basis the company in the last months, and this is what I'm focusing on. So the case study is about Queijos Ipanema, and it's a family business that was actually founded by my father. It was created 40 years ago. It grew through strong partnerships, investments on plants, and now has more than 600 direct employees. And since you're talking about this market, you have a lot of indirect as well at the supermarkets, and more than 2,000 milk producers in different regions of Brazil. And the COVID impacted the company in different ways. So first, it hit the commercial part. So the clients stopped buying. Then you had a problem in production. What do we do with all this cheese that we have, these stocks? And as well, it impacted the supply. So it started complicating. But this is not the focus of this talk. It's people and how we dealt with this challenge, focusing on their needs and making sure first that they were safe. So here we had the challenge. We framed the question, right? When I onboarded, I understood the context, and then the question was, how might we face the crisis and become a stronger team and company? And as I mentioned, I'm focusing more on the leadership team because I've been part of the board. It's not only the work is not only with the leadership, but it's recognizing as well that when you have a strong leadership, it impacts all the teams in the company. That's very important. And this is the journey of team development that I will share. So you start bringing the understanding of, it's cutting me here for me, but the mindset for team development. People need to understand what's the context. Then you create trust in this team so everyone feels part and is able to share and build on together, learn together. Then the process of aligning on a vision, setting objectives, looking at how we reach these objectives, what is the culture, what are our processes, and how we keep learning as a team. So the first one, the mindset for team development. So in this first stage, it was very important for us to prepare the team to embrace the idea of consciously developing their teams. This happened not only by showing or sharing content, but by doing, showing the impact of small things that we observed, we applied, how the tools were used, how we were reflecting together and taking the decision. So starting to be more conscious, not only about what we're delivering, but how are we delivering. And here is the perspective of the content process model. I have added here these images on slides that I consider that could be good for a print screen. So you have here in the content process model the perspective that you do not only look at what's your objective, what are your milestones, or if you have the team needed the competences, but at the same time looking at, okay, considering this objective, how do we work? What are our processes? What are our rituals so we can reach a better outcome? I really like this phrase that is like, a better how leads to a better what. So looking at the how is very important. And understanding as well that changes in the context influences the team dynamics. So that's why it's so important to be conscious, to observe, and to act according to it, because we are living a very specific moment in time, and this impacts us and the business in very different ways. So this understanding of observing and reflecting and reacting. So what we call the VUCA word, right? It's volatile, it changes a lot, it's very fast and uncertain. And as well, to see conflicts and this in relation to the team itself as opportunities. So understand that conflicts help us to move forward when well facilitated. It allows us to understand one another better. When we go through them, we gain clarity on both perspectives, we gain synergy, and then we make better decisions. And the idea of observing, knowing that it is going to change, facing the conflicts, but at the same time, looking at it and taking the ownership. You are responsible for your team dynamics. You are responsible on not only if you reached the objectives or not, but how you did that. So inviting everyone to take the control, observing the opportunities, monitor changes, and adjust to them. And here again, reflect regularly, individually, in the team. What do we need to keep the momentum? What happened? How can we change and improve? And by doing this reflection, you can think about, oops, I had a notification here. The areas of key performance in a team. So what are we lacking? What should we work on? It's more about the process and our communication. Our roles are not clear. We're not learning from our conflicts or from our mistakes. So understand, and again here I suggest a print screen. we always come back to the 10 key areas to productivity. So this was the first step. So first setting the stage, having this mindset, and inviting everyone to consciously develop the team. And then you need to go to the next step. Not that it happens separately, but it's very important as well to work on the trust in the team. And trust impacts on how we learn as a team. So when I showed the 10 key areas, being able to look at them and to express what are your needs, what are your pains in relation to this, and really be able to develop from this understanding and this perception. And this idea of trust in a team is called psychological safety, and it represents this feeling of being safe to take risks and be vulnerable in front of the team. And this is very important, not only to build better relationships, but if we feel safe to take risks, we can build better products, better solutions, experiment more, be a more innovative company. So it helps in all the perspectives. And then reflecting as well, where are we thinking about the 4 zones of psychological safety? Because it's not only important to feel safe, so when we have here in the vertical, but also having accountability to demand goals. When we do not have accountability, it's this comfort zone. So it's this friends area that everyone trusts one another, but the work is not necessarily done. And our focus is to go to the learning zone where you have like clear roles and accountability. People take ownership over tasks, and at the same time, you feel that you can take risks in this team. And how do you build trust? So get to know each other. So other than work-related conversations, share what happens on your life. Why did you join this company? How do you feel in this team? And who are you really? So sharing needs, fostering this open communication, and also learning together from mistakes, talking about them and making sense of them together. And a very simple tool is to do that, to create this open space, is the stinky fish. And we did that at Ipanema. So stinky fish is something that you carry around, but you don't like to talk about. And it will only get worse if you don't acknowledge and deal with it. So we had, for example, when we started working together and we had all those challenges, everyone reflected and shared their stinky fishes, and then we made sense of them together, not thinking about what is Larissa's stinky fish or someone else's, but okay, what are the pains that we have in this team and somehow in this company, and how can we work towards to solve them? So understanding the main ones and how we would approach them. Then in our journey of team development, we have the steps of aligning on the shared vision, considering everything that was happening, all the changes, and at the same time setting clear objectives. And then how do you create a shared vision in such a complicated moment, right? So I had this challenge. I was planning for the session with the team, and I really like metaphors. So I found a metaphor that allowed us to reflect on the past, where were we currently and where we were going. And this is my suggested tool. It's called the plane map. So you can invite the team and facilitate, share your screen, use a mural board or a Miro board where you can see the process together and build from then. So you look at where we came from, who are we delivering value to, how do we take decisions, how do we want the passengers to feel, because you're in a moment of change and transition. So what do we want people and the teams to experience, and what's giving us power? So you become aware as a team of different perspectives, and you're you're able to align on one vision. And from this one vision, reflecting and defining new objectives, right? Things have changed. The company should change as well to respond to them. And these objectives not only, okay, where we're going, and these are our objectives, but revising not only in terms of the organization, but also the team and personal objectives. So how do you make sure that they're all aligned and looking at the same vision that you have identified in the plane map? So a great tool that we are implementing is called OKRs, and it's very simple. It's very good because it allows you to communicate much more clearly and reflect if your tasks are leading you. I was just reading the comment. Are leading you to the objective. So you structure it as we will, objective as measured by, and then you have key results that will allow you to see if you are reaching the objective. So the objective is the vision, is qualitative, and the key result is a number that will allow you to understand if you are reaching there. And as I mentioned, make it visual, have it in your desktop, have it in the company, and constantly reflect if your activities are helping you to deliver these objectives, and at the same time, who you should be collaborating with. By knowing that my team OKRs are linked with someone else's OKRs, I can understand how we can collaborate and reach our objectives together. And that's great for enhancing collaboration in the company. The other step in the journey of team development is to look at the culture and the processes. So as I mentioned, on the process content model, you look at the what and you look at the how. So when you set objectives, you define the what, and now you take care of the how. How do you plan to do that? And when we think about it, the culture is how we work together. And it's the set of values and beliefs, attitudes, and we like to focus mainly on the behaviors that are shared in the team because they're more concrete. You can align better on behaviors that we consider positive, that we consider acceptable, that we value in a team, more than values and beliefs that are more personal, and the perspective can be different. And what is a good culture? It's the sum of behaviors, attitudes, processes that in the end will help us to meet the objectives. So always link the what with the how, and that's how you reach better results and having a better team experience. So reflect on your objectives and needs and design your work process. We are currently at this moment at Ipanema, we have defined our objectives, and step by step, we're looking at the current processes, and at the same time testing new processes and downloading them. So it's very good to have it visually and think about what do we do, why do we do it, how do we do it, when and who. So we have here some rituals and processes, for example. So daily delivery. So we have like daily calls to understand what has been delivery. When do we look at the OKRs? Is it online? Who participates? And the idea is to have it very clear and not to be something that, oh, we did it and this is our final process. When I mentioned in the beginning, the mindset for team development is exactly you are in control. You should look at it and edit it and evolve it with the team and update it according to your needs, to your pains, and to how do you observe, how are we working together, what's working, what's not working. And the retrospective allows you to do that in a simple way. So retro is one of the processes. So each week you sit with the team and you look back at what happened and reflect and think, okay, this worked, this did not work. What can we do? So be proactive on um, how you manage your team dynamics. What are the actions? And after this reflection, you come back to your rituals and processes and you update it with the team and you share it with everyone. So you keep evolving on it. And then how do we learn as a team? So this retrospective is already a very good and effective tool to learn as a team what worked, what didn't, what are we changing. And I have some extra suggestions for you. So it's about taking the control and continuously looking at the dynamics and learning from them. So you should think of how might we get better, how might we evolve, how might we create a great team culture, how might we deliver to the objectives, how might we collaborate better with other teams, have a more structured role in the ecosystem. So invite your team. It's a lot about this, what I shared, the design approach and the facilitation. Gather people, create open questions and explore them together, test them, create a new ritual, and then look again. So it's a continuous process. And then I first show you the 10 key areas. So when you reflect, it's easier to think about these 3 big key competencies. So is our team setting working well? So do we have clear objectives? Do we have a clear structure and role distribution? How do we collaborate? Or should we look at how we're acting? So what's happening while we're doing what we set us up to do? So are we adapting our leadership and membership according to the team needs? Are we learning from our conflicts? Are we able to implement what we establish and then follow up? How do we plan, discuss, and make decisions? And also think about how do you learn together? So do we respect the norms? Do we accept team members for who they are? How do we give feedback? From whom do we receive feedback? How do we communicate? So looking at all of this would be my recommendation. And the tool here to keep learning is to reflect. So look at what happened, how did you feel, and what can you learn from it? And again, I bring the Susan David emotions, because based on her research and I also learned by doing, she mentions these 2 steps. So facing the emotions and at the same time stepping out, looking at the emotion just for what it is, and then reflecting on what can you learn from it. So detaching, identifying and then detaching and learning from them. And why am I sharing this here? This is an individual reflection, right? Actually, we facilitate it in teams. So my recommendation would also be to invite your team members to reflect, but then share together and create this safe space where you can build trust, you can gain perspective from colleagues and understand each other better and work better together. When you understand their personal preferences, their personalities, what is important for them, and as well them in relation to you. And how to do team reflection. You should think about active listening to one another. So in case of online meetings, always having camera on, but making sense that communication is just 7% about verbal skills. What do you say actually? You should make eye contact, repeat what you heard, show with body language, so lean in and nod, and give space for reiterations during this process. So this is the team development. It is a continuous process, so it's about observing and making sense of what is needed and adapting, and having in mind the 10 key areas it helps a lot for you to learn how to facilitate. So I'd like to close this session thinking about the new normal And for me, it is to reflect and learn together from experiences. And the challenges will be around, and the thing is how we face them. And as a conscious team member, you should facilitate this process. So we believe that everyone that works in teams needs to know how to facilitate, because you're navigating from problems to solutions, you're encouraging participation, you're giving the space for things to emerge. And this is very powerful in any team and business setting. So I'd like to know, what will you change in your approach? What, from what I shared, if you're inspired, what were you inspired to apply on your team? And let's open for questions. In the Q&A, I can find questions. You can write it right now if you feel like. Yes, please write your questions in the Q&A session and let me know, what will you change in your approach? No questions? The organizers recommended me that I don't need to, if there are no more questions, I could close, but I'd love to answer to questions. Give me some. I'd also like to have some feedback, if you could give me what you liked and what you wished. And this is great also to apply it as a way of learning as a team. So you enhance the team perspective on sharing what do you like about, can be a product, a feature, a team behavior, someone's behavior, and what do you wish was different. So I like that we have 58 members. I wish you had questions. No. Okay. I'll ask the girls, no questions. Well, it was great to share my perspective. Not sure what should I do. Okay, no questions. I can end the broadcast. I got the confirmation. So it was great to do this reflection, to come here and share with everyone. And if you want to learn more, we are launching the Teamwork Essentials for 4 times of remote, where we researched and explored and shared our knowledge and experience around teamwork. And let's stay connected. This is my email, LinkedIn. We have the platform. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you.